You texted in the group chat that you were surprised, to which I responded, by what? And you said, by Kivier's header. So why were you surprised by Kivier's header?
Do you know what? It was just the distance of it, and like it was a powerful header. It was a good ball. It was a good ball, and yeah, Dean Henderson is a decent shot stopper as well, kind of thing. It's like wow, that's a really 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 good header. Like Duncan Ferguson would absolutely claim that header if it was him. It was a really good header, man.
Yeah, fair enough. I just kind of felt like the comment was a bit disrespectful of Kivier's regular day job as a defender. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show, the Arsenal edition. This is your host, Dean, and per usual, I am here with Coach. How are you, Coach?
I'm not feeling very well, to be honest.
Oh,
I hope my voice doesn't come across too harsh on here, but yeah, I don't feel too good. But apart from that, can't complain.
can't complain. That's fascinating. First off, I hope you feel better soon. I completely forgot because you sound incredible. You sound like yourself, so that's good. Um, and yeah, I got a lot to complain about, man. Like I know this game didn't really matter. Technically, it was just a fitness exercise to get out of the way before the main event, which is the semifinal game against PSG at the Emirates. However, you still got to play the games. That is the fucking standard, as we say at our club. And I gotta say, this was a sloppy, maybe our worst performance that didn't result in a loss this season. I would say.
Mm, I want to, yeah. I just want to get out of the way straight away and say that I think Arteta and the players were 100% thinking about PSG. Like, this is one thing I can depend on from Arteta is the fact that his players will go out there and basically do as they're told. Like, he's very good at getting his players to buy into his shit, and I genuinely feel like that performance can only be explained by the fact that he probably explained that he he doesn't want any stupidness basically today. Like, nobody overexert themselves or shit, because some of the shit I saw today was just like, yeah, this wasn't present in this time last week. This was not present at all.
Bruh, some of that shit looked like lockdown football to me.
Yeah, basically.
I was on my FanDuel app like, what is going on? What are the odds moving? Does someone know something? It was really sloppy stuff,
Yeah.
but we'll get into it in more detail. Let's start where we always start on this podcast, the lineup. We should have known because the last time we did this, Coach, you talked about how you were surprised that Sterling didn't even get to 8 minutes, like he
Yeah.
wasn't even used. Then we saw that motherfucker in the starting lineup today,
Yeah.
and I thought to myself, I don't like this. What were you thinking?
Yeah. I just don't like the fact that Sterling, at the age that he's at now, Arteta's asking him to play on the right in this system where playing on the right on this system means you have to be fast, and he's lost that pace now. You know, it's very very difficult for a player like him to play on his strong side without pace. Without pace, do you know what I mean? On the other side, it's, he can do more things. He has more angles to work with and stuff like that. But on the right hand side, it's just like just go out there and just take minutes off Saka and everyone else. Basically, it wasn't. I don't feel like he was set up to kind of succeed in this game in a way. I'm not saying that you know, it's not his fault for being. I mean, it's not his fault for not being good enough. I'm just saying that using him in that way, you're not going to get anything out of him. Basically, to be honest, I'd actually rather see him through the middle. To be honest,
Yeah.
like I'd
Yeah.
actually rather see him through the middle. So there was that. But also Marino and White not being in the squad. I know Marino was at the game. I saw him in the players' tunnel at halftime. Um, yeah, that didn't really. I only found out at halftime to be fair, but I didn't really like the idea of them not being fit. If you're not fit now, like, does that mean that is it a problem that he's still gonna be nursing it coming up to the weekend? Then he gets the Monday late fitness test. All those things are going through my mind. So yeah,
I would much rather see Sterling up the middle, to be honest, because like you said, he doesn't have the pace, but he does have the combination play. He does have some dribbling left. He does have some ball striking. So you suggesting him being through the middle is actually a much better idea. Either you play him on the opposite side, on the left, or you play him through the middle. And I think it wouldn't have cost the manager much to make that switch today. But then again, there's the argument that you want to keep your pot together. You never want to make too many changes. You don't want what do you call them, Rice, MLS, and Sterling to be a pod because we're not doing that shit ever again. Especially not at this point in the season with the next game being the PSG game. So I understand it. It was basically, hey, OG, go do some cardio. Like that's what happened.
exactly that. Exactly, just cardio. So
And yeah, Saka was on the bench, so we figured he'd come out at some point based on what we know about him and how the manager behaves. But this game started with a bang. I wouldn't say we necessarily started well. There was nothing memorable about the start. I just remember that Martinelli got the ball, ran at Lerma. Lerma bundles him over. Odegaard takes the free kick. Kivior nods it in. 1-0 to the Arsenal, 3 minutes into the game. You texted in the group chat that you were surprised, to which I responded, by what? And you said, by Kivior's header. So why were you surprised by Kivier's header?
Do you know what? It was just the distance of it, and like it was a powerful header. It was a good ball. It was a good ball, and yeah, Dean Henderson is a decent shot stopper as well, kind of thing. It's just like wow, that's a really 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 good header. Like Duncan Ferguson would absolutely claim that header if it was him. It was a really good header, man.
Yeah, fair enough. I just kind of felt like the comment was a bit disrespectful of Kivier's regular day job as a defender. It's like I would expect that from any defender. If you get that kind of contact, if anything, Eddie was doing the FanDuel thing too, because Eddie Nketiah started for Crystal Palace, and it looked very much like Kivior was his man on that set piece, and he just kind of let him go and ball watched. But nice header, powerful header, good finish, good start to the game. Should have set the team up to succeed, but I don't know what it is, man. I almost trust this team away from home more than I do at home in games like this. Like it feels like between the PSG thing they're waiting on, and I don't know. There's something about the atmosphere when it's not a big game at the Emirates. I've complained about this a couple of different times, especially in a midweek game when the regulars aren't necessarily there. The intensity of the crowd drops, and unless the team is playing like all Pistons go, it's really hard to get them into it. Are there reasons for that besides just general life stuff? Like people coming from work don't have the same energy. They're not as drunk. What is it?
So midweek game in April, after people have just got back from Madrid, it's tough. Like, we all know the economic situation, in the West right now. People are generally just picking and sacrificing stuff, and football is one of those things as well. Like, I don't know if it's the same at other clubs, it probably is, but if you're a season ticket holder and you don't want to go to a game, basically, you put it up on the exchange and you actually get, like, I want to say 98% of your money back if someone buys the ticket, basically. So it's another way of people, getting money back one way or the other, especially if you're in one of the expensive seats where some of them could be anywhere to, like, for a game like this, anywhere between 50 for upper tier to like maybe £150 you could be getting back, so that's useful money for a lot of people. Also the fact, I think, that people are like, people are fed up of the league season, to be honest. Like I made a joke the other day, talking about how I get up for league games, how I get up for Champions League games, how it's totally different, and it was the same thing today. Like, other than the fact that I was ill, I was planning on going to the game, but I was just like, and I've been to games when I've been ill before, but I was like, not today, man. Like, generally not today.
Is it still cold out there?
It kept, yeah, it's weird. Like yesterday it was quite warm, and then today it was just like, hold on a second, what happened? What happened? It's weird.
All right. Well, back to the football now. The first observation that because when your team takes the lead 3 minutes into a game, you think to yourself, okay, we're set up for success here. Just don't do anything stupid. We can see this out. Worst case scenario, let's focus on the clean sheet. Um, I noticed the first sort of symptom of sloppiness to me was a team wide thing. So I can't like pin it on one player or anything, but the passing was sloppy. Then even worse, when Crystal Palace got the ball in transitions, we just weren't on it. The counter press wasn't quite where it typically is now. That might be a function of Trossard playing up top essentially. But when Odegaard is in the game, I kind of expect at a bare minimum our off the ball game to be solid, and I don't know that it was good enough from the very beginning. What'd you see?
Yeah, I think part of it has to do with the fact that Crystal Palace have shipped 10 goals in their last two away games. So they were coming, and we scored, before tonight, we had scored 8 goals against them already this season. So they came here knowing that, look, there's a chance we can get absolutely turned over here again this season with our recent form, what Arsenal done to us this season already. So they made it very, very difficult for us in general. Like, while Arsenal weren't great, like, this is one of the most defensive performances. I know it's weird considering how much they created, but it's one of the most defensive performances I've seen from Palace this season. Genuinely, they were not trying to give up anything at all. Like, it was very, very almost unlike Palace, to be honest. So there was
Okay.
that. But when they did get a chance to spring on us, like kind of thing, we weren't really as intense as we could be. Like we wasn't dominating them and restricting them to clearing it. They were able to find exit passes very easily, which is unlike Arsenal. Like you're
Right.
not gonna find you're gonna have to work for your exit pass against us. And Crystal Palace, being as defensive as they were, found them pretty easily. So that was disappointing from us, I think.
Yeah, I just and I suppose it goes, I think we've said a couple times recently on the pod that, it's important to, when you're scouting players, it's important to see what they can do on the ball, but most of the game you're off the ball. So that's what kind of really matters when you break it down. Like you have to be decisive when you're on the ball and accurate, but most of the time a player does not have the ball. So when I see the team not playing well off the ball, I get a little panicky. That said, one guy that was really interesting on the ball in that first half was Declan Rice. He's been in great form recently. We sort of missed the galloping version of him in the last game against, who did we play against, Coach? We,
Ipswich.
Ipswich, yes, 4-0 away at Portman Road. Uh, Rice played at the 6 in that game, and the difference is so clear. Like when he's at the 6, he's disciplined, as we would want him to be. When he's at the 8, oh my goodness, it's just he's blossoming into the role a little bit. Would you say?
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting things from today, which thankfully it happened, I suppose, was the fact that Rice wasn't demanding the ball as much as deep, and he was really trying to supplement the attack. Like, and it's not because he wasn't confident, receiving the ball deeper, where it where there might not be a lot of space. He was genuinely trying to, overload and push their defense back. Basically, like so many times this game, when Lewis Skelly got the ball, he just run away from him. When Five will get the ball, he'll just run away from him, and it's like I actually don't mind that because it stretches them, but also it means that if the ball does drop to him in and around that area, he's got a good chance of making something happen, kind of thing. Like in the first half, he had two good chances on the edge of the box, kind of thing, from him just, playing really, really high, not getting the ball deep and playing a combination, kind of thing. But when he did get the ball a bit deeper, kind of thing, especially when there wasn't a lot of space, he drew players to him and then found an exit pass, which was good as well. So it's not like he can't do it, but it was as clear an instructions as you could see. So yeah, I wouldn't say he's lost discipline there. It's just instruction.
Right. It's the job description, if you will. When you're an 8, you're supposed to be higher up, and he seems more natural. I don't. Maybe it's instruction, but I feel like the difference in him as an 8 prior, before this recent vein of form, was sort of. It's almost as if he was doing a little too much. Like he felt the need to help out with areas of the pitch where we don't necessarily need him if he's the 8, and he was dropping a little too deep, which gave him too much distance to make up when the ball was going forward and too much distance to make up when we're getting broken on. So now the balance is a little bit better, and sometimes you get that balance from just committing to one or the other, depending on the phase of the game. And like you said, instructions suggest that, the consistency with which he was high up the pitch around their box suggests that today was like, this is your remit, don't worry about anything else. And, given the opposition and the way they came to play, that was actually the right call, I would say. That said, that was probably the only bright part of the first half for me as far as the system and the players themselves. No one really stood out, I would say. That said, well, if someone stood out, I would say it was Kivior. And that's not a good thing because that meant we were defending a little too much for my taste today, I thought. Kivior, he deserves a whole section on this pod, I would say, because he's really blossomed. It's kind of incredible what can happen to a player in such a short period of time when that player is given the opportunity to show his talent on a consistent basis. Basically, when you get playing time, all of a sudden you get confidence. And we're watching a very confident player at the moment, aren't we, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, he's giving out instructions to everyone. So that's the first thing here, Like, there's that meme of Kevin Gates jumping really high, like he ain't got one song where he needs to be doing that. Like, when does our fourth choice centre back ever need to be giving instructions to anybody? You know,
No.
and
Well, the coach would
but
say all the time, you
yeah, of
don't
course,
talk.
of course, of course, of course. But you get what I mean. Like,
Yes, yes,
that
yes.
means that means it's, to be honest, there's no negatives here. That means a few things. Number one, he's confident. Number two, his teammates clearly respect him enough, basically. And number three, he probably knows what the hell he's talking about. So that to me, I see no issue with that. I also love the fact that he's not ducking out of the physical side of things because um, if you look at it, Kiwior's people talk about Kiwior, he's very unassuming and we're not too sure about him in these physical situations kind of thing. He's relishing in these situations to me. Like he really is, and we know what his quality on the ball already. His quality on the ball is undoubted to me, but he's relishing the real physical ball because say what you want about our centre backs, our first two choice centre backs, and how great they are on the ball and stuff like that. First and foremost, them boys love a tussle. They love to squabble. That's what it's about. They love to squabble, and it's nice to have somebody else in there who's also of the same ilk as well. Despite all the on the ball qualities. So
Right.
I'm really
Right.
really pleased with him. I'm pleased for him as well.
Yeah, defenders that love defending are great. However, Arsenal's defending in the 27th minute after yet another Palace break on us, which led to a corner. Uh, Wharton slings it in to a fully unmarked Eze at the edge of the box. And to be fair, that was a fantastic finish, coach.
There's no, there's nothing about that goal that surprised me from the player who played the pass to the guy who finished it. Like, yeah, that's basically a layup for them guys kind of thing. You can imagine in England training and in Palace training, like they do that shit all the time. So giving them that kind of space, giving that time and space, it's disappointing from us, but that's the measure of those guys, the quality that they have.
Yeah, and another. I mean, again, credit to them for a beautiful goal. But I mean, come on, when a player has that much space, clearly someone has let an assignment slip somewhere. So I don't know who to throw the blame at. Doesn't really matter. Beautiful goal, 1-1. Arsenal won, Palace won, and on we go. And the moment of the game for Kivior actually followed the goal because Eddie Nketiah got the ball basically in our 6-yard box. It felt like. Raya was stuck to his line. I can't remember how the ball got there, but Raya was rightly stuck to his line. Eddie blocks Kivior off, turns pretty well, swivels like Wissa did when he scored against us in the Brentford game. But Kivior gets a toe on that and it goes over the bar. And in that moment, I said, we're definitely giving him a section. But we've already said nice things about him. I don't know that we need to linger, but I suppose that's a clear indication of the physicality we're talking about. A player that loves the tussle, that doesn't give up on any challenge. So he saved us in that moment. Shortly afterwards, in the 42nd minute, it was a good run of play. Timber basically accelerated things. Trossard got the ball on the edge of the box, fakes a shot, places a deflected shot into the net, 2-1 to the Arsenal. At this point, you're thinking we can see it out from here, coach, right? No? Yes?
Yeah, of course. I thought it would just be one of those ones where Palace kind of be like, do you know what? No suspension, no red cards, no injuries. Let's just get out of here and just go to our semi-final against Villa kind of thing. And on Trossard, he's proven me right again about where he deserves to be in this team and what he should be doing kind of thing. Give the ball to Trossard in those areas, and there's no instruction needed. He will make the right decision. Whether it's a pass or shot. I have no issues with Trossard there. Getting the ball about 10 yards further back, that's where we have issues. But get Trossard the ball in and around those areas, and I can close my eyes. I genuinely can close my eyes. I know what's up. You know.
Yeah, it's tricky with him because on one hand, when he gets the ball 10 yards away from 10 yards further back on the pitch where we don't want to see him, it's like, well, he's clearly helping us progress the ball because he's providing an overload deeper. But at the same time, I don't ever really watch that and think to myself, this is good for the team or something dangerous is about to happen for Arsenal. It's just like, bro, just put the fries in the bag and move back to where you belong. Like I don't, but I know it's instruction based. He wouldn't be doing it as consistently as he does it if the manager didn't want him to do it. I do like the way he interprets the false nine. He's a bit more on the ball than, say, Marino's version of it. Because neither one of them, to my estimation, has actually really played as a nine at any point, really.
No, no.
They're both false nines. Trossard more on the ball. Marino very happy to be off the ball. Even when he's in midfield, he's happy to be off the ball. Like, big fan of that player. A minimalist, if you will. Very effective minimalist. And again, his superpower. We're talking about Marino, who didn't play in the game, but I just want to give him props because I feel like we didn't show him enough love on the last pod, and he probably deserved a little more. But that's partly because he's not really an on the ball player. And again, most of what you do in this sport is off the ball. And he's amazing at that. That's why he has all those duel stats. Like he wins duels, and you kind of got to be off the. Well, you don't have to be off the ball to like engage in a duel, but that's usually where you do it. But yeah, enough of Trossard. We got to halftime. Again, I was thinking we should be able to see this out. We have enough to see this out. We started the second half, a lot of possession with no real intention. I thought Palace were still kind of content to be in their little mid block or whatever. Then Saka came on for Sterling, and you kind of expected the tempo to pick up for Arsenal. But for me, I guess it did briefly, I think, because that was a period where Odegaard had a one-time shot that looked like it was flying straight in the top corner, but it hit Rice on the back. Then I think that was also the period where Timber had the cross that went out of bounds that Martinelli put into the net, and it looked like, maybe the linesman made a mistake, but VAR disallowed it, and rightly so. But once those two incidents occurred, in retrospect, coach, it felt like the rest of the game was all Palace.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I think also there was the chance from Saka as well, the Martinelli cross as well.
Yeah, from the Martinelli cross.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it was weird. Despite Palace's like pressure, the subs and stuff like that, it just felt as if they were still so ultra defensive, but they broke on us better. That's all it was. They broke on us better, but they weren't super ambitious. They were just getting the ball fast very quickly. But then whenever they did turn it over, they literally had 8 players behind the ball already. So it was weird. Like I'm just gonna say, I genuinely do think I want to come back to this point. I just genuinely do think the players' heads were all in PSG. So was the managers. Like, there's no explanation for that sort of performance. For me, other than the fact that these players were genuinely petrified of getting injured and just doing something. Like that's what it felt like to me. They've been through the ringer this season of players getting injured at the wrong time, so I understand the fear. But this is still Premier League football, man. Like, you can't give any if we play like how we played today against Southampton. Southampton probably get something from the game as well, and Southampton are absolutely terrible.
Putrid. But yeah, I can't recall the last time Arsenal got out XG'd. Crystal Palace, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Crystal Palace amassed more XG than Arsenal in this game. And the game, I got to be honest, I want to say around the, 75th minute, Mateta came on. And while Palace had made a bunch of subs prior to him, I wasn't really worried about anybody else until Eddie went off for Mateta. And in the 83rd minutes, my fears were confirmed. My fears were confirmed as a Saliba error in build-up led to a really, really beautiful goal by Mateta. Essentially, Saliba got the ball. He got it from Odegaard, who had dropped deep. For whatever reason, he wanted to give it back to him, even though he had a pass back to Raya. He had a pass to Timber. He decided to turn back inwards. It was the wrong decision. He's too close to Odegaard. He passes it directly to Mateta. And all credit to him for the finish. What a lovely chip. Raya was out of position, but that's how we play him, so there's no blame for him there. This was all on Saliba. Coach, 2 weeks in a row now, he did this at the Bernabeu. Actually, this was worse than the Bernabeu for me.
Oh yeah, this is way worse for the Bernabeu for me. Only because like this game had way more jeopardy than the Bernabeu game. All things considered. Like, no disrespect to Real Madrid, obviously. Like I mean,
disrespect. Come take my lunch, nigga. You can't do nothing to me. These niggas don't respect Don Carlo. I'm not scared of them. Fuck out of here, man.
For all, this game had way more jeopardy than that, so that's why it was worse. It was just also the fact that a lot of people hate Odegaard, and seeing the way that he ended up on the floor because of that, it's just giving them fuel. And it's like, you didn't need to do that, bro.
What? How is any of that his fault?
It's not Odegaard's fault. It's not Odegaard's fault.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't online before we got to record, so I guess I didn't see anything because I would be stuck. I mean, you saw the shock. I was surprised that anyone would have anything to say because that was all Saliba. That's our guy, but it was all him. I know people rarely criticize him because, he has the aura. He's French. He's tall. He handsome. All that shit. But let's call a spade, people. Like, he didn't have... I mean, put it this way. Even if he had passed it and it went to Odegaard's feet, I would still consider that an error from Saliba. Absolutely. But what he did was he passed it to Mateta.
So here's my thing as well. Now that it's happened 2 weeks in a row, I think we're seeing the value of Gabriel. I think if Saliba does that last week with Gabriel on the pitch, it just doesn't happen this week. Seriously. And I'm not trying to pass the buck or anything like that, but I just feel as if this is why, despite Saliba's talents, this is why we call Gabriel the leader of the defence. Like, there's no secret. Like, and I enjoy the fact that they communicate in French and stuff like that. It really makes you can imagine it makes life easier for Saliba.
And Gabriel,
to be honest. But like, you know, these are the sorts of things where your regular partner will pick up on it and be like, let's not fuck around, basically, you know, little things like that. But yeah, just on Saliba, I have to be honest and let's give him a bit more respect. Like he has been, he hasn't been great this season, basically, but in big moments, like genuine big moments, he hasn't really let us down. And I feel like these last two mistakes are just gonna go into these weird comp makers, sort of fell, sort of comp stuff like that. But really and truly, you look at it over the course of the season. When has he really let us down? Like the Bournemouth sending off was absolute bullshit to my mind. Um, the Yao Pedro penalty, like, are you kidding me? Like, really and truly, you know. But then if you want to look at, you know, when it's been things have been on the line, it's been quite tight. You know, the I think the second goal against United, he scored. What do you call it? The performance after both Gabriel and who else went off in the Liverpool game. Um,
Shit, I don't remember.
but
MLS
it
came
was
on.
real
It was
scary to end up
bloodbath.
playing anyway.
Yeah, so Saliba wasn't. Well, what Liverpool game are you talking about?
Sorry, not Liverpool. Sorry, my bad. The performance, the actual, I want to call it our most terroristic performance of the
Oh,
season,
at
which was
City.
City. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
like, you know, things like that. Um, I can't be too mad at him. Seriously, like
Oh
he's
my
made
God.
his mistakes, you know, but yeah, Saliba's still
Like,
top.
like I'm gonna keep it a buck with everybody. Like, parents often talk about how they don't have a favorite kid. They're lying. If it's not you, if you don't know that it's you, then it's not you. Okay. Like every child is supposed to think they're their parents' favorite. So, and if you know for a fact that you aren't, then then you aren't, and that's okay. But there are three children in this Arsenal squad that are essentially beyond reproach. Okay. One is Saliba. Okay. No matter what he does, he has done enough that, like, I'll never actually be mad at him for anything. Like, no matter what happens, knock on wood, everything stays copacetic. But no matter what happens, I just love having him at the club. The second one is Declan Rice. He costs too much for me to be mad at him. I'm sorry. Like, generally, I like to be mad at white people, but not this white person. And finally, it's Saka in attack. The reasons are obvious. I don't need to explain that. Now, some other people get added into that. But those are the three. That's the core and spine of the team. So they're always going to be good money to me. I would say academy products that make it into the first team as well also get like the blanket of, hey man, flirting versus harassment. Everybody else can get it. Like when they're messing up, everybody else can get it. And again, it was a widely sloppy performance. So outside of Saliba's error, even Raya looked a little shaky. But if everyone in front of him is shaky, is that his fault, really, coach?
I just wanted to say actually, Raya today was weird. Absolutely, I couldn't put my finger in it, but something was up with him. Maybe the Joan Garcia links are getting stronger and shit. Because I'm not joking. At one point, when he turned around and he was running back towards his own goal, I think to pick up the ball, kind of thing. I kind of got some Ramsdale vibes from him, not from his body language, just the fact that, oh shit, we're really happy with him. He's a good goalkeeper, but oh my god, he might be in danger. Like, like there was that, I can't remember exactly when it was, but it wasn't the Southampton game, but I can't remember what game it was. I was like, oh my gosh, Ramsdale might actually be in trouble, kind of thing. And I'm not saying today was the day for Raya, kind of thing, but because these Joan Garcia links are not going away, kind of thing, it's like I'm almost kind of trying to picture an Arsenal team without Raya now. And I'm not saying that I want him gone. I want him so kind of thing. I'm trying to think: is Arteta onto it again? Is Arteta been really proactive and has spotted something that we can get a marginal gain on again? You know,
I mean, at a bare minimum, it's ridiculous to be at a club. I mean, I know the whole argument when Ramsdale got unceremoniously dumped out of the first team was that, oh, a goalkeeper needs to feel confident, blah 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 blah. But David Raya has had an entire season where his place has never been in jeopardy. He's just been in charge of the role. Like Neto was a loan that probably cost us a temporary solution in January. Okay, I can't even remember seeing him. Like, when has Neto ever played? Like, when he was supposed to play, it was youth players we played instead. So Raya has had no competition whatsoever, and that is not the ethos of the club under Mikel Arteta. So it doesn't matter whether he's clocked him or not. Competition was always coming in. So if he's getting shaky before the motherfucker even shows up, before we even bid again, if and when he loses a shirt, he would have deserved it because there's no excuse. I think generally I'm just going to tar him with the same brush that I tarred everyone else with today. Everyone was just sloppy from the manager on down to the goalkeeper to the strikers, all of them. Everyone was sloppy. That said, an unserious performance, I think, has influenced our very unserious pod. Do you want to do a little bit of PSG preview before, because I don't know that we're going to have time to do a full preview, but we have some time before we have to do a PSG.
Oh, we can talk PSG, but yeah, just look out for our PSG preview. I'll be doing one with a PSG, a lifelong PSG fan actually. We might be on location as well. We'll see how life takes us. Yeah.
Just put the pod in the bag, nigga. We don't care where you do it from. Just put the pod in the bag.
Do PSG play this weekend?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
I believe so. Yeah, they want the rhythm. Yes.
Yeah, so that's weird because where do they get the advantage? Because they own League 1, so surely they'd want to match us in terms of like game time preparation and shit like that.
Yeah, they're playing on Friday against Nice.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Well, fair enough.
At home.
Yeah, so they're gonna literally play everyone that play that came through the PSG academy, which is fair enough. or they might be trying to really, really go for this unbeaten record.
Yeah, they're too close. They're too close to not go for it. They have to go for it, and if they fail, whatever. But they have to go for it at this stage. I definitely know we'll be seeing Lee Kangin. We'll be seeing Gonzalo Ramos for sure, but we'll definitely be seeing some starters in that game as well. But this was our preparation for the game against them. The last game against. I keep forgetting Ipswich, man. They're just such a non-entity. I keep forgetting them, because we know who's getting promoted. Like Leeds is coming back. Who else is coming back?
Burnley's coming back as well.
We're gonna do a pod on that shit because I think I'm gonna just say this. Maybe this is a hot take, but I think both clubs should immediately fire their managers. Like now, let's not even waste time with it because don't come up and start with the bullshit. Just fire the managers now.
I mean, they're talking about Fark getting shit canned anyway. Like already,
Fark
his body not even cold yet.
Well, I mean, we've seen what he can do in the Prem, so it's not as if they'd be doing wrong by him or anything. Same thing with Scotty Parker. But yes, back to PSG, coach. They will be playing on Friday. Then the game happens, I believe, on Tuesday, April 29th.
That is correct, yeah.
Do they have an advantage? Because I don't like how far away Arsenal is from the game, because I don't know. I feel like the rhythm would have slipped by Tuesday. Like, I don't know. Training is going to be death ball or something, man.
So here's my thinking. PSG coming to London, it's literally an hour and 10-minute plane ride, right? So they could, if they wouldn't, but if they wanted to, they could quite literally fly in like late on Monday and have no issue, like at all, because it's literally only an hour. They'll fly in, they'll get to let's say they technically they get in at like 4:00. They'd have their evening training session on the Emirates pitch kind of thing, and that'd be it. But I think they'd probably come in maybe on Sunday, I'd say, just because. So there's no real disadvantage for them, I'd say, only because their league's wrapped up kind of thing. They're fully focused on Champions League kind of thing. And the same thing for us kind of thing. We knew the league has been gone for at least 2 months now at this point. So that's why our performances in the Champions League, I think, have shown that as well. In terms of how we line up and, what kind of things to expect kind of thing, like I said before, I really wasn't pleased with the fact that both Mourinho and White went in the squad. I would have liked for them to have got some actual good game time and minutes ahead of the PSG game. Also, like, I looked at the PSG lineup the last time we played, and Doué started, Dembele didn't, Kvaratskhelia wasn't there, obviously. Ruiz didn't start. It was Zaire Emery as well. So I don't know, like, how much more different can they play? Like, is Dembele that huge of a game changer? I'd like to think for their case, yeah, but also I just think, looking at both how our midfields would match up kind of thing, we're not losing the physical battle there. And we at the Emirates, we can make it just a running and physical game. Doesn't mean the football won't be good kind of thing, but we can make it a physical and running game kind of thing. And I just don't see how they compete in that regard. Where my worry is because it's Europe and because they've got a lot of quality, if our passing is not crisp enough, all it takes is one errant pass and they can find one of their one of their danger men in the wide areas, and they could be right at us, kind of thing. That's where my worry lies. But in terms of actual losing the physical battle or even the running part, I have no no worries there.
Yeah, I think, and I don't want to be hubristic about this, but I have a certain level of confidence. I've watched a lot of PSG this season. I mean, you guys that follow us know that we watch all the football. Like we don't have hobbies besides this. Maybe coach watches some anime or some shit. I don't know. He be saying some weird shit sometimes, but I don't do shit else. So I've watched a lot of PSG, and even though they're a different team from the team that came to the Emirates before the turn of the year in the Champions League, like in that game they outpossessed Arsenal. They had more of the ball. Like that's not really gonna change this time around either. Like all that's different is that there's just more chemistry. The coach isn't beefing with some of the players, and they're on their way to the goals that they set before the season, and they all know it. So they're all rowing in the same direction. But they're better. But I think they're getting a lot of extra credit because of who they've beat. Like they've beat Liverpool, which for me that tie was an indication of my assertion that yes, Liverpool are going to win the league, but this is not a team that I personally have found very impressive this season. I think they've been more lucky than good to me personally. That's what I feel about it. And you add in the David Coote situation, and call me a paranoid conspiracy theorist, but I feel what I feel, and that's what I believe. But people feel as if because Liverpool were so thoroughly dominated by PSG, and that they also beat Aston Villa, two good Premier League teams, that all of a sudden they're so much better than they were back in December. They're really not, in my opinion. They're the same kind of team with, just better chemistry at the moment and the addition of a $70 million winger, you know. And yes, are they better? Sure, but are they better to the point where it makes a difference against the opponent that they're going to face, an opponent that can match them for technicality, but surpasses them physically? As coach said, we can run through them. Like that hasn't changed. So I'm not. I mean, like, am I supposed to be scared of Marquinhos and who's at the back, William Pacho and
Pacho, yeah.
Beraldo, and like, come on, man. Like, for me, they have a weak underbelly. Like they're a good team. They deserve everything they've gotten this season, but I'm not scared. I'm just not. Like, and I hope these aren't like famous last words or anything like that. But I'm just not. Like, I was far more terrified of Real Madrid. Put it that way.
I think it's natural to be more scared of a team that has Mbappe and Vinicius Junior and Bellingham.
Right.
That's fine. Don't get me wrong. Like PSG have a lot of great attacking talent, and the fact that there's no recognised number 9 in their strongest 11, makes them quite difficult to kind of pin down as to who do we, those spaces, who do we really focus on, kind of thing. It presents a problem to us. The only thing I will say is that it's a problem that we faced before already, not just with them but with other teams as well. Even with Real Madrid, like Mbappe being the number 9, but he really wasn't the number 9 kind of thing. You know what I mean. So what I will say is that they're a far more cohesive attacking unit for sure than Real Madrid.
Definitely.
But also, like you mentioned, the underbelly kind of thing. Put it like this: I just don't see a world where between Vitinha, and Ruiz,
Yeah.
which one of them physically is going to? If Odegaard did okay, one of them even did okay. If Odegaard helped more than held his own against Camavinga and Tchouaméni and Bellingham and Valverde, I'm sure he'll be fine against those three. Do you know what I mean?
Pretty
So
much.
there's that, and then you add in, our Hulk, Declan Rice kind of thing. Once he gets up ahead of steam kind of thing, again, they're gonna have to be making a lot of fouls or just letting him go. So
Well,
yeah,
how much do you think you're going to see that in the first leg, coach? Declan Rice running with the ball, because he's going to have to play 6. So there's going to be more. The instructions are going to be different. I think Marino will be ahead of him.
that is true. Actually, I did forget that part. But even then, that even makes his job even easier now, because he just knows that, look, their midfield are all technical. They love, they love combinations. They love playing a small game kind of thing and then switching it out to, after they've created overloads to their 1v1 specialist kind of thing. But it just means that you look at that second leg against Real Madrid, basically, all those little passes that Real Madrid were trying kind of thing, Declan Rice was just eating them for lunch kind of thing. I'm not being funny. He's not going to have to learn something new for this game kind of thing. He's just going to have to make those sorts of decisions from a deeper area of the pitch. So yeah, I'm not phased by that. I just will say, I think maybe us getting the ball forward now means there's going to be a ton more emphasis on both Lewis Skelly, especially Lewis Skelly, but also Timber as well now. And maybe Odegaard dropping deeper. But even I don't think I want Odegaard dropping deeper in this game. I want him, having to make the likes of Hakimi and what's his name,
Mensch.
Nuno Mensch, make decisions. So yeah, maybe we keep Odegaard as high as we can in that regard.
Well, I'm not really pressed about the mechanics of how it's going to work. I just know that from a defensive standpoint, we have some of the best one-on-one defenders on the planet in our fullback areas, and Miles Lewis-Skelly, and especially Julian Timber. And I'm very, very comfortable with the idea of them getting support from Declan Rice. Yeah. So I almost feel as if that should be the away setup as opposed to the home setup. But we'll see. I'm pretty sure number 5 gets right back in the squad for the trip away to Paris. So. But yeah, very briefly on that situation. Today we got an update from David Ornstein about his contract potentially getting renewed. I'll just say it like this. I don't like that news. It doesn't make me happy, not because of the quality of the player. He's had a good season, okay? And he probably did juju to hurt all his teammates so he could stay healthy in the contract year. However, the club are aware of the things that we're aware of as well. And we've been muddling along as a fan base, but I really feel as if it's better for the club, for the fan base as a whole, to just get us all on the same page. There are always going to be people that disagree with certain things and don't like this or don't like that or hate this player or hate that player. But when it comes to someone that's been accused of what this person has been accused of, I mean, I know some people are pretty defensive about this because he hasn't been charged by the police officially and all that other stuff. But I just think ultimately, I just want us all to be on the same page about this shit. And we're on the same page when he goes. Like, we had the excuse of he's under contract. Now he's not going to be under contract this summer. Let's not extend an issue that doesn't need to be extended. Let's refresh the department. Like, he had a good season. Let someone else pay him in his 30s.
Yeah, and I think I do think it's very, very important to note that all of the anger, majority of the anger, should be directed towards him, kind of thing. But at the end of the day, he can't make us make him offer him a contract. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the powers that be, kind of thing. I do think some of the anger needs to be directed towards them because I feel like there's a lot of scapegoating here, kind of thing. Because it would lead to uncomfortable conversations about how people would, choose to support the club and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, in any situation where somebody has done something wrong, kind of thing, the people that are, I want to say, not culpable, but the people that can ultimately do something about it, kind of thing, if they don't, they need to be looked at as well. I wouldn't say to the same level of scrutiny, but to a very high level of scrutiny. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just my honest opinion about it. Now, yeah, it's uncomfortable to think about and have to deal with and have to accept, kind of thing. But at the end of the day, he's out of contract. We could quite literally let him go. He's not choosing to stay himself. He's not physically holding us down, kind of thing.
I'm sure he would love to stay. It is Arsenal, but I do think for the general health of the club, like, I don't really want to proffer an opinion on what happened or didn't happen. I wasn't there. I don't know. But for the general health of the club, I just don't want this to be an issue for anyone in the club anymore. I know there are lots of people that it's not an issue for. Good for you. I'm happy for you. But for some of us, it plays in our minds. We don't like it. I mean, we've barely mentioned this motherfucker's name for 2 years on this pod at this point. I'd really like to be able to just speak about all the players on the team freely. So again, like Coach said, the vitriol needs to be spread a little bit wider if this happens, but I really hope it doesn't. I think it's just that time of the year. People negotiate, people have conversations. I feel like if a player like that has to stay, it would have to be on like half the pay for it to be worth it to the club. Like, they'd have to cut his pay like severely, but we've done enough on this bit. Crystal Palace 2, Arsenal 2. Shout out Crystal Palace, man. Like, they have a cup semifinal this weekend, and they really brought the energy despite that, because I thought there was a chance that they too would be a little lethargic or whatever, but they were able to sit in that block and they outplayed Arsenal. Let's just keep it a buck. They outplayed us and we gave them the goal to get them a point. That's essentially a fair summary of the game, I would say. Coach, have we done enough, or do we need to yap a little bit more?
No, I think we've done enough considering the level of my health and the health of the match that we just watched as well, guys. We don't want to bore you too much, honestly.
Yeah, I think half this pod was about shit that didn't have anything to do with the game anyway. But in any event, thank you as always for chilling with us. You know the usual: like, subscribe, all that good shit. Tell a friend, tell your mama, all that. Have a lovely evening or morning or whenever you're hearing this. Have a lovely day, and Coach, you know what to tell the people.
Peace.
Hey folks, this is Dean from the Shirtless Plantain Show. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and follow us on all our socials. You can see them right beneath our recordings in every video. Thanks again, and see you on the next one.